Hi. Uh, I did my research on the Geolocation HTML API and wanted to record a short video about my findings. First, some basic information about the API. As the name implies, it allows your website to get the location of a device that is accessing your website. It's agnostic. It doesn't care about the source of that information. It can use GPS, IP addresses, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth MAC addresses, even user input. And once it gets that information, the location of the device in question is represented by latitude and longitude. As you might imagine, there's some privacy concerns with the geolocation service. So, as part of the API, you have to provide a way to protect user privacy. That means you have to get express permission, and you can't send the information that you glean to other websites without the user's express permission. You can also only use the location information for the task for which the information was provided, and you have to get rid of the location information when you're done with it, and this is all according to the W3C's API standard. What about browser support? According to caniuse.com, the API is supported by current versions of Internet Explorer, Edge, Firefox, Chrome, Safari, Opera, iOS Safari, and Android browsers, so basically any modern web browser supports the API. The one exception is Opera Mini, and several versions of older browsers don't support the API, like versions 6 through 8 of Internet Explorer, 2 through 3 of Firefox, 3.1 to 4 of Safari, and 10.1 and 15 of Opera. And also, one side note, the API only works on HTTPS servers, so secure servers. The W3C has some suggested use cases as part of their standard. You could, using the API, for example, find points of interest in the user's area. You could annotate content on your web page with location information. You could show the user's position on a map. Fairly obvious. And you could even provide location tag status updates in social networking applications. So those are the basics. How does the API work? So the API uses what's called a geolocation object. That is used by scripts to, and this is according to the W3C, programmatically determine the location information associated with the hosting device. The location information is acquired by applying a user agent specific algorithm, creating a geolocation position object, and populating that object with appropriate data accordingly. Now, the W3C standard contains several example JavaScript function calls to get the location information you might want using the API. For example, if you just want the device's position once, you can call geolocation.getCurrentPosition. If you want to request repeated updates from the device about its location, you can call geolocation.watchPosition. And you can use position options objects to configure some of the options for your request to the users. So, for example, you can request higher accuracy using an enable high accuracy attribute. You can specify a timeout. You can specify a maximum age for the position information using the, unsurprisingly, maximum age attribute. So that's basically how the API works. One specific implementation that most people are probably familiar with is Google Maps. Google Maps provides HTML, CSS, and JavaScript code you can just copy and paste into your documents, into your website to use the API. These examples conform to the W3C geolocation standard, and the way the Google code works, it calls, like we saw before in the W3C standard, it calls geolocation.getCurrentPosition on a navigator object, and then centers the resulting map, which is displayed in a frame on the website, on the found position if, in fact, any position is found. So that's a basic overview of the Geolocation HTML API. I hope you've enjoyed the summary. Thanks.